Hey y'all, you ever wondered how to skip up under them docks and those shade trees and all those delicious dark spots that bass love to live in? Well, I'm going to teach you here on the Googan Lab. So the first thing you need to know about skipping is having the right baits. There's certain baits that work way better than others, and we've actually done a video on some of the best baits to get the best distance when you're skipping, so that'll be linked down below. Now, as far as the gear goes for skipping, a spinning rod combo is going to be a lot easier, especially if you've never done it before, than a bait casting combo. We're going to show you both, but we're going to start with spinning and use something that has a little bit of flex in it. So I'm using a medium power fast action rod. That's going to allow me to load that rod tip with a little spin right here on the side. We'll show you in just a second to get that bait moving forward. If you're using a really stiff rod, it's harder to get that rubber banding effect and flick it in there. So with a spinning setup, you don't have to worry about that backlash. And I like to use braid, a lighter braid. Today I'm using 20, and I've got a fluorocarbon leader on here, 12 pound. And the key with this is to stay low. You want to act like you're skipping a rock. So when you're skipping a rock, you don't come from a high angle like this. You're going to come from a really low angle, and you're going to throw it kind of like a frisbee and just get it to skip back in there. So it's going to be like an extension of your arm. Think of the rod as an extension of your arm. You want to hold about 2 feet of line out. That's going to be a really good amount of line. You don't want too much line where you're gonna have to make a big loop to do it. You don't want it just right at the end of your rod tip either. Just a little bit of line hanging on the end of your rod tip's gonna work for you. You open your bail, hold the line with your finger, and you're gonna do that low sweep right there, and you're gonna let go and let the lure hit the water fairly close to you and start that skipping just like a rock. So with that spinning setup, you can leave that bail open, and you can use your other hand if you need to stop the bait, but you really rarely need to do that when you're skipping. So what's really nice about that is you're not going to get that backlash. The line's still going out, and then I can just flip it over. So you want to get some speed. I would start with trying to skip at 10 feet, and then move back. Try to skip at 20 feet, and eventually, once you get the action down, you're going to be able to skip this thing 50 feet up under a dock if you're using the right setup and you get the right angle, but it just takes some practice. But your spinning setup is going to give you the biggest distance, and it's going to really allow you to learn the mechanics of it without having to deal with a bunch of backlashes. But now let's show you the bait casting version. So now we're going to use a jig. Now this is one of my favorite baits to fish around, shaded docks and up under trees and things like that. And when you can skip things up under there, it often replicates like a bug falling out of a tree, or a fish getting attacked, a little shad getting attacked on top of that water. Just that skipping motion, it gets the fish's attention. A jig is really good because it's a little heavier. I can swim it. And I don't put a very bulky trailer on there, something that has some flatness to it that allows me to skip. I'm using a 3/8 right now. Quarter is even easier, but 3/8 is a good sweet spot to get distance and skippability. So I've got it on 17 pound line, and I'm fishing it on a medium heavy power rod. So normally I would fish a jig on a heavy power. I'm fishing a medium heavy so I can get that little rod load. And this is also a 7 foot. I'm not using our 7.6 heavy or 7.5 heavy rod, because it's going to be a lot easier to do this with this little shorter rod. So using the go-to, the same action is going to apply. So I want to stay low. I want to do that sweep, kind of lean into it, point my rod tip at where I'm trying to go. But I've got to keep my thumb control right here. So as soon as the lure starts trajecting forward, I need to put my thumb on this spool, and I need to start slowly braking, because you're putting a lot of force right into this to get it to skip, and you're just going to ease on that spool just like you would at a stop sign, unless you're just you know, crazy and you're stopping hot. But just nice, easy roll up to the stop sign, and eventually you press all the way down on the brake. So same exact thing with this. So skipping is a super important tool to have on you when you're fishing in places that have all these, you know, shade, deep cover areas. And the harder it is to get a lure up under there. Whoa, what was that? Sorry, as I was trying to say, the harder a lure is to get up under in an area, the more likely a bass is going to be there, and you're going to mess up. You're gonna get backlashes sometimes. That's okay. Just keep trying, and you may not get it on that first cast, but if you get back into those deep, dark spots where there's cobwebs and no one else has fished, there's most likely gonna be a bass that's waiting there. So hopefully this tip helped you. If you want to see more, you know what to do. Subscribe right here, and we'll see you next time on the Googan Lab.